Could the upcoming 2024 elections be the ugliest we've ever seen? It's a chilling question, but one that demands our attention. Hold on, let's zoom out for a moment. Contemplate the forthcoming elections across the globe in the ahead. The clashes promise to be intense, the stakes soaring. However, there's a fresh contender on the battlefield: artificial intelligence. Fabricated statements and simulated events generated by AI morph into potent instruments of deception. The capacity for AI to disseminate disinformation and shape public opinion is a grave worry. We're stepping into a daring new era, and as constituents, it's crucial for us to remain alert and enlightened. Now let's delve into a fresh, unsettling trend: the proliferation of AI-generated impostures in the political sphere. Deepfakes, cutting-edge tech with the ability to alter videos and images to such an extent it can be difficult to distinguish the real from the fabricated. The culprits? They're often much closer than we think. Even campaign teams trying to tarnish reputations. Yes, you heard it here first. Despite their strong denials, it's often insiders from the rival parties who mastermind these falsehoods. Let's take a closer look at some instances. Remember the flood of deepfakes during the 2018 midterm elections? A notorious example was the fake video of Senator Ted Cruz confessing to election fraud, which caused an uproar, or the AI-created voice of Senator Elizabeth Warren making false declarations that stirred quite a controversy. And who can forget the emergence propaganda that nearly tipped the scale in the 2020 presidential election? A classic case was a fabricated article, allegedly by AI, endorsing candidate Joe Biden, which almost swayed public opinion. This disturbing trend is only just emerging. Imagine a future where your newsfeed is swamped with AI-generated news. It's so overwhelming you can't tell fact from fiction. It sounds dystopian, but is it really that far-fetched? Given the advancement of AI technology and the ease of creating and spreading fake news, this scenario is becoming more and more likely. And the consequences, they're potentially catastrophic. Some might argue that the solution lies in turning back to trusted old media sources like broadcast TV, radio, and newspapers. But even these mainstream news outlets are not immune. Sheer sophistication of AI-generated fakes presents an unprecedented challenge in the authenticity of news. It's no longer as simple as just fact-checking. It's about discerning the subtle nuances that indicate a piece of news might be AI-generated. Moreover, the deluge of AI-generated news is so overwhelming that it can drown out the real stories, making them harder to find. This makes it even more difficult for these traditional news outlets to keep up, let alone discern the real from the fake. Even major mainstream news organizations have been duped by completely made-up events. Take, for instance, the 2016 Pizzagate conspiracy theory, which led to a shooting incident at a Washington, D.C. pizzeria, falsely reported by numerous reputable media outlets. Or the infamous Bowling Green massacre that never occurred but was reported widely. These false reports, especially during critical moments, such as the lead up to elections, can have a profound impact on public perception and decision-making. For example, the 2020 US presidential election saw the rampant spread of misinformation regarding mail-in ballots, causing confusion and mistrust among voters. In today's polarized society, confirmation bias plays a crucial role. People are more inclined to believe what aligns with their existing views and reject what contradicts them. This makes fake news not just a problem of misinformation, but a reflection of deep-seated societal divisions. Even when debunked, these fake news stories leave a lasting impression, altering people's perception of reality. It's a stark reminder of the power of misinformation and the importance of critical thinking in the digital age. Moving beyond the borders of the United States, the issue of election misinformation is a global concern. In the coming years, major elections are set to take place in various parts of the world. Countries like France, Germany, India, and Brazil will be heading to the polls in 2024 or 2025. These nations, each with their political climates, are not immune to the plague of misinformation. More vulnerable, however, are smaller countries, especially those where English is not the primary language. The dearth of media sources to question or verify the authenticity of information makes these regions ripe for the spread of false narratives. In countries such as Cambodia and many African nations, the impact of misinformation can be severe, affecting political stability and potentially leading to civil unrest. The fight against election misinformation is a global one. Every country, big or small, has a role to play in this battle. As we delve deeper into the potential fallout of election misinformation, we realize it doesn't stop at a misguided decision or the rise of an undeserving candidate. The real danger lies in what happens next. Imagine a world where the aftermath of a manipulated election isn't just a political scandal, but the end of democracy as we know it. The exposure of AI-generated news influencing election outcomes could be leveraged as an excuse to undermine the very essence of democracy. Proponents of this scenario might argue that the public can no longer be trusted with the power to decide because it's simply too easy to manipulate their beliefs with advanced technology. They could propose the suspension of democratic processes, claiming that they're fundamentally flawed and vulnerable to misinformation. The alternative, they might suggest, a new form of government, seemingly immune to the pitfalls of misinformation, an AI-controlled regime, perhaps, that promises to make unbiased decisions for the greater good. This is, of course, just speculation, but it's a very serious risk that is likely to come up in the mess that's coming upon us. Remember, the fight against election misinformation isn't just about protecting the truth, it's about safeguarding the very pillars of our democratic society. So, how can we prevent this dystopian future from becoming our reality? The truth is, there's no easy answer. We can only try to minimize the damage by staying aware and vigilant. In an era where misinformation is as easy to create as it is to consume, the onus is on us, the consumers, to question everything we read, see, and hear. Never trust media alone, no matter how big and credible the source seems. Always seek out multiple perspectives and cross-verify information. Remember that even the most reputable news outlets can fall prey to AI-generated fakes. Presumably, as we move forward into this uncharted territory, big news sources will eventually develop ways to confirm what is real and what is not. The advent of AI-generated fakes might even lead to a new era of journalistic integrity, where news outlets are held to a higher standard of truth verification, but it will be a long, tough road to that point, and we surely haven't seen the worst yet.